Right there in the courtroom that day, under the watchful eyes of dozens of...
Diddy just collapsed in court. But what triggered his breakdown wasn't just nerves, it was a video. A chilling, previously unseen surveillance clip that prosecutors claim connects him directly to the woman he once loved, and possibly feared. For years, the world accepted Kim Porter's death as a tragedy. But now, explosive new evidence, disturbing allegations, and a posthumous memoir are shattering that illusion. Behind the music, behind the fame, there's a darkness that's finally being dragged into the light. And what's coming next could shake the entire industry. When Sean Diddy Combs walked into that courtroom, he didn't look like the untouchable mogul the world had known for decades. He looked rattled, nervous, distant, and on edge. But no one expected what happened next. As prosecutors presented a never-before-seen video, grainy, silent, but unmistakable, Diddy visibly trembled. His hands shook, his jaw clenched. Within moments, he leaned toward his attorney and requested to leave the courtroom, citing anxiety and uncontrollable nerves. The judge paused. The courtroom held its breath. What was on that tape? Sources inside the room say it was a surveillance recording from 2017, and it didn't just hint at abuse, it showed it. According to prosecutors, it captured a disturbing moment between Diddy and Kim Porter, one that shattered the public image he had so carefully curated. Legal analysts watching the trial unfold said it was one of the most intense emotional breakdowns they'd seen from a defendant in years, not staged, not performative, real panic. And it left everyone asking the same question. What else is he afraid might come out? Kim Porter wasn't just another celebrity girlfriend. She was a model, an actress, a devoted mother, and for over a decade, a central figure in Diddy's life. Their relationship was complicated, on again, off again, but deeply intertwined. She was the mother of 3 of his children and, by many accounts, the person who kept him grounded. So, when she suddenly passed away in November 2018, people were shocked, but even more shocked by the explanation. Official reports claimed it was pneumonia. But friends and family weren't convinced. Kim had been in good health. She exercised regularly, ate well, and had no major health issues. The speed of her decline and the silence surrounding the details didn't sit right with those who knew her best. Her ex-partner, R&B artist Al B. Shaw, publicly questioned the cause of death. In a now-deleted post, he wrote that Kim did not die from pneumonia, sparking waves of speculation online. Then came former bad boy bodyguard Gene Deal, who hinted at something much darker. He spoke of behind-the-scenes tension, power struggles, and moments where Kim seemed afraid. Was this just grief-fueled suspicion, or had something really been covered up? The whispers never stopped, and as more people spoke out, the silence around Kim's death began to crack. As time passed, the questions around Kim Porter's death only got louder and darker. Al B. Shaw wasn't done. He claimed Kim had reached out to him shortly before her passing, saying she didn't feel safe. According to him, she was planning to go public with damaging information that, if true, could have destroyed reputations at the highest levels of the industry. Then there was Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, who painted an even more disturbing picture. He alleged that Kim had confronted Diddy about things he wanted buried, things that could tie back to illegal activity, abuse, and exploitation. According to Deal, it wasn't just tension, it was a power struggle, and Kim wasn't backing down. Even her funeral arrangements sparked suspicion. The tight media control, the lack of transparency, the way certain guests were managed, it all felt a little too curated, as if someone wanted to make sure the story ended right there. Online, Forums lit up with theories. Was it really pneumonia? Or had something been done to silence her? No proof, no answers, just a growing feeling that the truth had been buried right alongside her. And then, years later, her voice came back, in print, unfiltered, furious, and afraid. In 2024, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a manuscript surfaced titled Kim's Lost Words, a posthumous memoir allegedly written by Kim Porter in the final year of her life. It hadn't been published by a major company, it wasn't hyped in the media, but when it leaked online, it sent shockwaves through the industry. Page after page, Kim detailed the side of Diddy the public never saw, a man she described as controlling, volatile, and sometimes terrifying. The book spoke of private breakdowns, sudden outbursts, and a pattern of psychological and physical abuse that spanned years. She described being followed, silenced, and most hauntingly, watched. One entry claimed she feared for her life. Not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet, paranoid tone of someone who had seen too much. She didn't accuse anyone directly, but she didn't have to. The implication was clear. If anything happened to her, it wasn't just fate. Fans were stunned. Journalists began connecting dots, and suddenly, her death no longer looked like a sad coincidence. It looked like a warning ignored. The memoir was quickly scrubbed from major platforms, and its authenticity was immediately questioned. But those who read it before it vanished say the same thing. It didn't read like fiction. It read like a woman screaming for help. The more investigators and online sleuths looked into Kim Porter's final hours, the more unsettling the details became. First, her phone. Gone, completely missing from the scene. Family members claim she was always on it, constantly texting or calling friends, but when authorities searched her home, it had mysteriously disappeared. Not lost, not misplaced, vanished. Then came the scene itself. According to reports, there were unexplained bloodstains in the room where she was found, stains that weren't consistent with pneumonia. Yet somehow, those details were either brushed off or never fully addressed in the official autopsy. Even more troubling, no medical professionals had been present during her decline. For someone supposedly battling a serious illness, she had received no hospital care, no nurses, no doctors, just silence. And then, she was gone. Why was there no urgency to save her? Why was the investigation so limited, so quiet, so controlled? To those close to Kim, it didn't feel like negligence, it felt like avoidance. A quiet sweeping of questions under a very expensive rug. And yet, for years, no one could prove anything, until the tape surfaced. The one prosecutors say changes everything. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but this video, it left the courtroom speechless. As part of the prosecution's case, a surveillance recording from 2017 was introduced. Grainy, time-stamped, and without sound, but its content was undeniable. In it, Sean Diddy Combs is seen in what prosecutors claim is a violent encounter with Kim Porter inside their home. He's aggressive. She backs away. There's no audio, but her body language screams fear. He corners her, raises his hand. A struggle. Then the screen cuts to black. Gasps filled the courtroom. Reporters described the moment as electric, like watching the truth finally claw its way to the surface. Jurors shifted in their seats. Even seasoned legal experts watching from home were shaken. Prosecutors argued it showed a clear pattern: intimidation, control, and abuse. They weren't just accusing Diddy of what happened in 2018. They were painting a history of violence that led up to it. A pattern Kim had allegedly described in her memoir, now captured on video. The defense tried to object, said it was out of context, said the footage was incomplete. But the damage was done. The room had seen enough. And Diddy? He unraveled. Right there in front of the world.
As the video played out,
Something in Diddy broke. He wasn't defiant. He wasn't stoic. He looked shattered. His breathing grew heavy. His face went pale. One hand clutched his chest, while the other gripped the defense table like it was the only thing holding him up. Moments after the footage ended, Diddy leaned in toward his lawyer and whispered something. Seconds later, he formally requested to exit the courtroom, saying he was experiencing extreme anxiety and couldn't take it anymore. The judge paused. Medical staff were brought in. It wasn't a scene from a movie. It was real, raw, and unfolding live. Outside the courthouse, the media went into overdrive. Analysts speculated that this could mark a major turning point in the trial. His breakdown wasn't just emotional, it could be seen as a crack in his legal armor, a sign of guilt, or maybe fear. Was it the pressure of years of secrets catching up to him? The shock of seeing his own actions reflected back at him? Or was this just the beginning of a much bigger collapse, one that could take more than just his reputation down with it? Because if what's being whispered behind the scenes is true, Diddy might not be the only one sweating.
as Diddy's world began to unravel,
One name kept surfacing in whispers, tweets, and underground blogs: Jay-Z. The two have been close for decades. Business partners, collaborators, confidants. They've shared stages, boardrooms, and billion-dollar circles. But now, that relationship is being viewed under a new light, and it's making people uneasy. Online speculation exploded. Fans and insiders began asking uncomfortable questions. How much did Jay-Z know? Was he ever aware of Diddy's alleged actions behind closed doors? And more importantly, did he help keep anything quiet? There's no hard evidence linking Jay-Z to any criminal activity, but in cases like these, proximity becomes suspicion. People started combing through old interviews, cryptic lyrics, business records. A few pointed out how often Jay-Z avoided commenting on Kim Porter's death, despite being close to Diddy at the time. Others referenced rumors, unverified but persistent, that suggested a network of silence among elites in the industry, a code of protection. Some say it's how powerful men stay untouchable. Of course, none of this has been confirmed. Jay-Z hasn't been named in any official investigation, but the narrative is shifting, and as one empire begins to fall, people can't help but wonder, if Diddy goes down, who goes with him? This trial isn't just about one man anymore. It's about power, protection, and a culture of silence that may finally be cracking. Diddy now faces a mountain of serious charges: sex trafficking, extortion, physical assault, and possibly more as investigations dig deeper. Authorities are said to be reviewing old cases, witness testimonies, even sealed records that were previously ignored. The legal system, once hesitant to challenge the elite, seems to be catching up. Insiders claim more people could be named, more footage could surface, and more survivors may finally come forward, now that the once untouchable mogul is being forced to answer for his past. But perhaps the most haunting part? Kim Porter never got justice. Not really. Her voice was ignored when she was alive, and only now, through video clips and posthumous pages, are people starting to listen. The industry is watching, celebrities are going quiet, and behind the scenes, you can almost hear the panic setting in. Because if this case continues to unfold the way it's heading, Diddy may not be the only name in the headlines. And the truth? It has a way of rising, no matter how deep you try to bury it.